Welcome back, friends. So now the next adventure, we are going to check out some really epic manatee experiences where you can view manatees from a nice boardwalk and see them in the hundreds, to getting in a kayak and looking for them, and even getting in the water with them. Every year, manatee season comes and goes, and I absolutely just miss the opportunity to go see them at Blue Spring State Park, or to take the opportunity to go swimming with them in Crystal River. And you know, I just thought 2025, I'm gonna stop procrastinating. I'm gonna just stop making excuses to go see them. I live in Florida. It shouldn't be that hard. So I just said, now's the time. I'm just going to stop making any excuses that my brain's going to come up with. I signed up for a kayak trip. I signed up for swimming with manatees, and we'll just see what happens. So Christmas Day, I go to Blue Spring State Park, get there just as they open, 8 a.m. Even try to be there a little bit early because the lines are going to start. That line of cars is going to start down the road. But this is a great place because anyone of any physical capability can go and walk the boardwalks and see hundreds of manatees swimming along in this crystal blue water. It's gorgeous. So it's a really nice, easy way for anybody to go and see these manatees. Well, this is a total bummer. That part is completely blocked off. Dadgummit. Alrighty, it's officially gotten crazy here. Dogs running crazy, barking a lot, tons of people. It's crowded, so it's time to go. I also have always wanted to go kayaking. Now, I've never been to Silver Springs State Park in the sense of I'm gonna go actually kayak and be on that water. This was a really new experience for me. The downside was how crazy it was. It was completely packed with people that were on vacation. There were people in tour groups, people with their own personal kayaks getting onto the river. Okay, this was a terrible idea to come today for kayaking at Silver Springs. Even though I booked a reservation, it's pretty chaotic here. Hey friends, made it through the chaos and the long line, figured it out, and finally found the outfitters. They're still out on the water, so just hanging out by the boats. Every year I let this manatee season go by without actually going out on the water and looking for them, and so I said I'm going to stop procrastinating. I'm going to stop letting distractions and excuses stop me from coming out. And so I've joined this kayak team, and Thursday I'm going to go swimming with manatees, so hopefully I will get some really cool GoPro images of manatees in some beautiful crystal clear water. So I'm really looking forward to it. I'm hoping to see some alligators out here too. So I've never actually been kayaking out here in Silver Springs. So this is gonna be a new experience for me on New Year's Eve. So closing out the year with a fun Florida winter experience. Man, it is crowded and it is loud here on the river. The draw of Silver Springs is that beautiful crystal clear blue water, and so you can see all the way to the bottom. The sad story here that really kind of started waking me up what the manatee means for the economic value in Florida is that you have these eco-businesses, eco-tourism businesses. They're showing lots of beautiful manatee videos, cool alligator videos, anything that's going to grab the customer's attention and get you to sign up with them. I finally met up with the kayaking group and they're really nice. I would recommend them to anyone who wanted to go. They're really great. Their kayaks were wonderful and stable. These ladies were knowledgeable and very helpful. Otherwise, great company, terrible day to be out at the Silver Springs, because what that meant was, so now my kayaking trip was an hour later, which pushed the sunlight out. So I'm mainly going to get photos and videos of manatees, and I would like to see the alligators out there. Getting that cool alligator footage is also a dream of mine. I would love to do it. While the alligators were there was just so many people, and the light was starting to fade. So now I couldn't really get great photos and videos of the alligators in the water because it was getting too dark and I was losing light. Okay, not too bad. We saw a mama alligator with tiny babies. Like, they just hatched babies. So she was really calm. There's a ton of people that just kind of kayak, gone next to them, take a look at them, but she was very calm with those tiny little babies sitting on there. They were so tiny. But she had 4, she was sitting in the weeds, and I mean, there's just a ton of people over there. So these alligators are pretty acclimated to people coming up and paddling up next to them. Oh, my nightmare. There's monkeys in the trees. It is crowded today. Well, we didn't see any manatees today, and there's a good reason for it. With the huge number of crowds, a lot of people have been harassing the manatees. There's a lot of noise. People have been riding on them, bumping into them, hitting them, poking them, and so the manatees have been taken off, leaving us. So no manatees on this kayak trip today. So while there are so many laws protecting this marine mammal, protecting the Florida manatee, people don't know about them, don't care about them, and there's no law enforcement. So I just said something big, I get it. There's some law enforcement in some areas. However, are they overwhelmed? I don't know. There's a story that's developing here. And so I'm hearing the guides talking. They're very frustrated. Real problem is that the people that have their own personal kayaks and are getting out on the water. So they're harassing the animals. They're riding them, poking them. They're trying to hold on to them. There's a lot of bad behavior that is illegal to do to this animal. But what ends up happening, these manatees aren't going to stick around for all that chaos. They're leaving. I know that seeing a wild animal is not guaranteed, but most people don't. Most people think, well, this business shows all these videos on social media of them seeing manatees. That's what I paid for. That's what I'm expecting. And so now their business can get hurt. They're trying to show you the beautiful landscape in Florida and the beautiful wildlife of Florida, but now the manatee's leaving. So these businesses are making a living off of this wild animal. There's no control over the other people that are in the area. There was no law enforcement around making sure that everybody was behaving themselves. Tourism in Florida, part of it is people wanting to come see the Florida manatee and get that experience with them, we can really see a huge impact that bad behavior and lack of law enforcement is going to have on that market. It's time to go swim with the manatees now. I'm about to go and get suited up because it's going to be really cold in that water. I'm curious. This is an animal, this whole town. I'm at Crystal River. They've built an economy around this animal, and so swim with manatees. People sign up for this. They're expecting to swim with manatees. So we're going out to a place that's near a sanctuary, and yeah, let's go check it out. Just getting my gear together. I got my wetsuit, snorkel, I got some nice water shoes here, and I'm taking a couple of cameras with me for this. I've got my nice dome camera. There's a couple of scratches from some alligators biting on it, and hopefully the manatees don't, but hopefully I get some fun stuff out of this. Bringing this case because while I do trust the GoPro to go underwater, we're going into some saltwater areas because manatees come back and forth through saltwater, freshwater. So I'm not going to take any chances. I've got a nice float with this too, so that if it falls out of my hands, it's just gonna float to the surface. I did learn the hard way, don't take your GoPro out in the water without some kind of flotation device, because something's gonna bump it, you're gonna lose your camera. Got our snorkel and mask. I got fueling up on some snacks here. Okay, so I'm going to take a jacket with me because it's gonna be a little cold out there. So yeah, I'm excited, let's go. Florida manatee season is between November and April. Manatees are coming up the rivers and into the springs because that water is coming up from the ground at 72 degrees Fahrenheit. It's much warmer than out in the ocean, which can be like 55 degrees Fahrenheit. So the right whales that are coming are loving this time of year because the waters are cooling down. They can have their calves out here, but the manatees find it very uncomfortable. Even though manatees look like big, fatty, blubbery marine mammals like dolphins and whales, they are herbivores, so they don't actually have all that blubber to keep them warm, which is why they're coming up into the springs. I love the feel of cold water coming up my zipper. Okay, so I paid extra for a semi-private tour. That meant being on a boat with 7 or 8 other people. We're gonna go swim with manatees. So when we pull up, chaos again. This place is packed with not only other tour groups, but other private individuals on their kayaks because it's a public area. That part of Crystal River, anybody can come and go. That part of Crystal River is also the swim entrance for the Three Sisters State Park. So the manatees have roped off areas that they can find sanctuary. The problem is these are small sanctuary areas. So yes, no one can go swimming and be next to them. There's still so much noise in the water. There's so much swimming around. So when you're on some of these tours, you are learning better eco-tourism practices in a lot of these tours. there were just moments where I was getting photos, and like one of the babies hesitated leaving the sanctuary even though mom was heading out. And so I got a couple of photos that just really touched me and thought, like, this photo says to me, like, hey, baby manatee, I paid good money to be here. I'm getting my photo. I'm getting up close to you. Just perform for me. It's really tough. Nobody trying to reach out and do anything, but, you know, like I said, there's just so much noise and there's so many people around. In fact, I got physically pushed out of the way by somebody. I'm actually like filming like this, and someone actually pushed me out of the way, and there were feet in my face and hands hitting me, and it was just crowded and terrible. And so I didn't get the magical experience that you that you're expecting when you want to go have a manatee encounter. But I think what it did for me was open my eyes to this economic story around the manatee. If you like these adventures that I'm sharing with you, hit the subscribe button and let me know where you want to go next. I was freezing. I was shivering so bad. I decided I need to get out of the water. So I ended my tour early, which was kind of good because then I got to chat with a third generation manatee tour guide. So his grandfather started manatee tours, and so it was really interesting to get his perspective and to hear what he thought was going on. His story was just like the kayak guides. There's so many people that want to come, nothing's regulated, and there's no law enforcement. He has seen law enforcement really divert their eyes towards maybe an easier target than to tell someone you're harassing a manatee and you get that $10,000 fine. Like, there's supposedly some hefty fines harassing manatees. There's a big issue here. Florida's depending on this wild animal to be here and to thrive. I will say the Florida manatee has been downlisted from endangered to threatened because their population's growing, because there are a whole lot of other practices, but that's a whole nother, that's not the part of the story that I'm focusing on. The focus is on the economic value that a lot of people, that a lot of towns, that a lot of businesses are placing on this wild animal being in that area and thriving. So what is it going to take? Is it going to take more education? Is it going to take more law enforcement in these areas? Is it going to take people getting dished out thousands of dollars of fines just to start spreading the word out, like, do not mess with the manatee? If anybody's watching, you get this hefty fine. Like, what is it going to take to take care of the manatee as a conservation story and as an economic value for the state of Florida? So even though my experience wasn't quite the 5-star shining example of it, it's still really cool to see these beautiful state parks, to visit them, and to even to see this animal in the wild is always an exciting thing. I never get tired of seeing them when I go out to dinner and I walk along the dock and there they are eating grasses, right? I never get tired of seeing the manatee. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found some value. And now, where do we go next?